And with that being said,
Fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing?
earlier was legendary.
Bitch ass nigga, fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing? Bitch ass nigga, fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing? Bitch ass nigga, fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing?
I love that nigga for that shit every time. I say that shit every time. Podcast Brothers episode 117?
Yes, sir.
Podcast Brothers episode 117. This week's Fuck Is You Doing is dedicated to a special kind of asshole. The kind of asshole you never want to see again or hear of ever again. Where we in the great state of New Jersey, it's a small state, so, and with social media, it's an even smaller world. So all the information is compressed and it's very, very easy to find. There was a high school wrestling match in Buena. I've never heard of that city before, but in New Jersey. Buena, New Jersey, where there was a wrestling match where a young African-American male had dreadlocks. And he was approached by the referee and was told that he needed to cut his hair or that he would not be able to wrestle this match. And the young man, you know, wanting to perform his sport and do what he came to do, agreed to the haircut of having his hair cut off so he can go forward and win the match. Yeah. I don't wrestle, don't know a lot about wrestling, but I don't think dreads get in the way of you wrestling. Especially if it's a referee there. It's not like it's a street fight. It's like, yo, bro, I don't want to pull your hair. You got to cut your shit off before we fight. Like, no, it's a regulated sport. You know what I'm saying? That is deeply rooted within some of these kids' genes. And some of these schools are big wrestling schools. Now, I'm not into wrestling like that. I don't know much about wrestling, but this actually has shit to do with wrestling. What does this young man's hair have to do with him being able to compete? And why is it that when do wrestling season start? I imagine it's pretty deep into it at this point. Why has he been allowed to wrestle up until this point with his hair? If that was the case, shouldn't he have been told this at the beginning of the wrestling season? Listen, due to such and such regulations with your haircut, you wouldn't be able to perform in this sport. But for it to be halfway through the season, or maybe the end of the season, and for this random ref named Alan Maloney, it's the whitest name ever.
Sounds racist.
Jesus Christ. Might as well be Alan Malarkey. That's what the fuck it sounds like. Fucking Alan Malarkey. Alan Malarkey ordered Johnson, which is the kid's name, Andrew Johnson, to cut his hair off. When I saw the video, it was on Twitter. I didn't watch it at first because I already knew what was happening. I was like, I don't feel like being emotionally moved today. But when I watched it, it made me think, like, do people want that much control? What was it about this man's hair that was so much of a problem that you had to have him cut his hair? Was the kid wrestling against him your son and you knew he was going to get his ass whooped? So you tried to, you know what I'm saying, pull a rug from up under his feet? I don't know. I've also heard reports as well that this particular ref has had issues, accusations with racist acts before. I'm not sure if it was in regards to refereeing or his personal life, but it did mention in the article that his name has been brought up in these types of situations before. Alan Maloney Malarkey, you white mayo sandwich on white bread, Nazi bald motherfucker. You did not have to make that man cut his hair to perform in this bout. That's fucked up. They should make you cut your hair before you referee. He probably was bald anyway. Most old white men are bald.
I think, if I recall the image, I think he's holding on to something.
He got the George Jefferson?
Yeah, I think he's somewhere in that range.
But it looks worse with white people, though, because when they start balding in the middle, their hair is like mad thin. And you can see where it's falling out.
You can see the entire scalp.
Right. Alan Maloney, I also want to say that he's been suspended. He's no longer eligible to referee in any more New Jersey matches until the NJSIAA completes his investigation into why he made him cut his hair. And I think that's a good thing. I hope he got suspended with no pay. I hope you don't ever get another referee job in the whole fucking country. And if you do, I hope you fucking refereeing cockfighting in Mexico. Alan Maloney, what the fuck is you doing? God damn it.
Fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing?
And he won the match, by the way.
Bitch
Sudden
ass
death
nigga,
overtime,
fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing? Fuck is you doing?
No extent. Right. I don't think the ref knew what type of strength he gave that young man. Like, right, I'm about to listen. I can't put pause on you. I'm gonna get you, but I'm about to get your ass.
That's
fucked up, man.
So my thing is, you touched on it. It was just like, I'm pretty sure this wasn't their first match, and even if it was, that's up for the coaching staff, the school, the wrestling committee, all of the above to know the rules of hair.
Right.
That's that, and that's that in the third. But a few things that I thought about was, number one, the parents or guardian, and number two, what did the hair mean something to him? Hair normally identifies you as to know who,
right.
It identifies you.
It's a self-expression.
Your hair means something.
Yeah, it's self-expression.
At the same time, and I'm not playing devil's advocate at all, and don't take this the wrong way. No, not at all. But my son, he's very random with what he does. One day you'll see him with a mohawk. The next you'll see him with a Caesar trying to grow waves. The next minute you see him with a little fro. I don't know what his hair means to him. So,
I mean, well, it's obviously he likes to play with it. He likes to design it to see what he does like. So he's kind of experimenting with his look.
So I want to separate my hair identifies me from I'm just playing. I'm just trying to figure myself out as well. Understand what I'm saying? So when it comes down to, I'll put my son in that situation. And I'm not even going to talk about the parents yet. We can talk about that after this. I put my son in that situation. If he was a wrestler and the ref said, "Hey, you got to cut that mohawk off because it gives you a competitive advantage," or whatever his excuse was.
How?
Whatever his excuse was, and my son said, and my son didn't have a choice to either cut it off or lose, and the whole team loses. To me, it'll be disrespectful, kind of, but I wouldn't rest on his hair means something to him type of vibe. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think that's for everybody. I don't know what that young man's hair meant to him. If it meant the world to him,
I honestly don't. It's not so much about the hair, but it's the discrimination against the hair.
But see, I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about, because we got to break this down in layers. Because when you on social media, you'll have different audiences, you'll have different groups debating on why this was so wrong. Some say it's the hair and what it means to them, and some say it's just plain old racist. Some say it's just plain old, wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to say, I'm just trying to go from the standpoint my son has a head full of hair, and any given day he can switch up. So if the wrestling committee said, "Hey, you got to cut that off, or you can't wrestle," I think he'd be okay with that. I think.
Right, but at the same time, it's all about presentation. If that's the rules at the beginning of the season, okay, cool. I'll walk into it knowing that I can't wrestle with this hair. But you're not going to let me wrestle for a whole fucking season, and then when this particular match comes up, now for whatever reason, I can't have hair. I've been wrestling all fucking season with it. Why not?
Absolutely. It's so disrespectful because he got his hair cut by scissors during the match. That's how you know how like that was the part that got me, which is like how disrespectful can you be to actually take some scissors
and it was just cut. It wasn't no precision with it neither. Like when niggas go to the barbershop, you sit down and take your time for a reason. Like they was just hacking his shit like come on, man.
Absolutely. And then
I'd have told my son, I'm like, listen, I'd have came down at the motherfucking stands. I'm like, no, don't touch his hair. And I'd have left it completely up to him. You know what I'm saying? I would have made a big deal. Oh, you motherfuckers gonna hear from me after this. But ultimately, I would have left it up to him. Listen, you don't have to cut your shit if you don't want to. We can leave this motherfucker right now. But if you feel that strongly about it and you still want to fight, or wrestle rather, the decision is up to you. You know what I'm saying? But either way, I'm gonna see you, motherfucker, pointing at the ref in the back and shit. I don't know. And then they got headgear on too. Like he wears a head brace. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
And just like you said, that was the question I was going to go at too. The parents. I saw a post on the mother wrote something, and she just was like, it was one of the most uncomfortable situations she's ever been in. Her child is okay now, but he was kind of like shook up at first, but he's good now. But if you're there in the audience watching your child go through this, what are the moves that you're making?
I'm coming straight out the bleachers, cuz. You're going to hear my foot's coming down. When the loud-ass noises the bleachers make when you were doom, doom, oh, shit. That's that nigga dad.
But that's the thing, though, because I think that's how quick it was. Let's say you're in the bleachers. You don't know what kind of conversation that they're having. So you might not figure it out until you see old girl grab him by the ponytail and snip. By the time you figure out what's going on, the hair is gone. So you got to think of what kind of reaction are you having then? Because think about it.
I probably would have came down, because obviously there was some type of conversation or commotion that took place prior to the hair being cut. And I know that's not how most of his wrestling matches start off. So what's the problem? I want to know off the rip. What's the problem? Yo, why they ain't wrestle yet? What the fuck is they talking about?
I can see that happening, but it's not, to me, and this is me, it wouldn't go off as if something's really, really, really bad about to happen, because I think we see this kind of conversation all the time. Oh, his shorts might be, his gear might not be of standard. His shorts might be too short. Stuff like that. And you just, hey, coaches, what's going on? You try to get in contact with the coaches. I'm just saying, by the time
That's why you take your ass down off the bleachers.
Oh, you gonna be one of them parents.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all ain't start yet? What's going on?
Yeah, that's why you take your ass off the bleachers and you ask direct questions. I don't have time to sit around and wait for a motherfucker to give me an answer. By the time you wait for the answer, the shit is going to be done. And there ain't nothing you're going to be able to do about it. You're going to be pissed in retrospect. Let me get them answers ahead of time, if I'm able to.
So I don't know if it's playing devil's advocate, but just as being parents and having sons.
That's true, Jovi. I'm on Instagram Live. Shout out to the Instagram Live.
But as being parents and having sons, do you look at this and say, because as parents, you always want to protect your child, no matter what. But sometimes can you see this as a little bit of a good thing that they'll go through this and see how they handled it? You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's a life lesson, like Jovi just said in the on the live.
And I ain't even looking. So
yeah, she said he just experienced the not so nice things in life.
And we don't want our kids
to protect your children forever. So that's a fact.
And that's basically what I'm getting at.
Some stuff you do gotta let them experience on your own, but blatant disrespect and racism and discrimination like that, I'm not gonna let my son face that alone if I'm there. Of course, there are going to be situations that he's going to have to face and figure out on his own, and hopefully he can do that through my teachings. But if I'm there, you ain't got to lift a motherfucking finger, nigga. It's a fuck.
I definitely feel you that if I'm there, but at the same time, just like I think we're agreeing on that it's nothing that we can do about it if we're not there. It's like right. You're going to deal with some type of racism, some type of discrimination, and he handled it very well. Now, my issue with this might have hurt him in a mental way that we don't really understand right now. You understand what I'm saying?
Would it be okay if he shot up his high school?
It could. It's not going to be okay because he's black and nobody's going to care about the trauma.
I jumped out the window right there.
Nobody's going to care about the trauma that he's actually going through right now, because that's basically what it was.
That's what's happening all the time anyway.
He wrestled, and when you saw him get up, he had tears in his eyes. The ref raised his hand. He ain't want that. He walked off, and it was just like, how do you deal with that now? And that's just something that I'm not going to deal with it.
I think he's able to deal with it. I think if he was able to stand there and be strong enough to stand through the haircut and the whole process and still go out and win the match in the Sutton OT, I think he got a strong enough head on his shoulders to be able to get past that situation and move forward and apply that lesson.
So, last question, we can move on. Are you taking one for the team? You are the last match.
You are the last dragon.
You won't let the powers of the globe.
What'd he say?
I know he's going to do that.
Because that's why I ain't sing, nigga. I don't know what the fuck he said.
But if you were the last match and this was for the championship, and you know it's dead wrong because they wouldn't have let you go this long with your hair on, but are you taking one for the team?
I don't know, man. Where we at? Was it like, I don't know what round it was. Was it like championship? Was it like playoffs? Like what's...
I'm going to just say it all counts because I'm not going to say this is the championship, but your record matters. Like your record matters. So this could put y'all in the playoffs. It could qualify you for the tournament. Whatever it is that they got going on in the wrestling.
But you know what though? And all honestly, either way, like the discrimination wins. It's either I walk away and I can't wrestle, or I wrestle and I lose my hair. Like, either way, that motherfucker gets what they want.
Does it win? Isn't that what Martin Luther King was kind of like preaching about most of the time? Like turn the other cheek towards this type of nonsense?
In that moment, you feel as though you've been played. You know what I'm saying?
But
with
he
every
won.
decision. Yeah, but he didn't want to cut his hair.
Up
You know what
yours,
I'm saying?
ref. I still won.
Yeah, but he still won. But he lost. I feel like he may feel like he lost a little bit of dignity because he either had to cut his hair or walk away from wrestling. Like,
Well,
you know what I'm saying? He loses something that he obviously wants or cares about either way. In the
we've
process.
been brought up on the Malcolm or Martin situation.
Yeah,
It's
but
the way it is.
But that don't make it. That don't mean you
I'm
just
not saying
wash
it's-
it over. Yeah, we understand the dynamic of it, but in that moment, you like, yeah, what the fuck? Like,
he chose to be Martin.
right.
So, but that's what Martin has. Like, listen, okay.
I mean,
we
he
know
could have been
that it's-
Martin if he walked away. If he walked away with his hair, he
I
would have
think
been
Malcolm would have been more rebellious. Like, no, I'm not doing nothing. Whitey say that's more Malcolm.
I
to
mean,
me.
but it's still not violent though. It's still all right. Well, I'm gonna leave here with my hair and my dignity. When then he left with a haircut and a W. So you know,
So which one? So are you taking one for the team?
probably not. Fuck my team. Fuck the niggas. And I looked at his team. They was giving him all high fives. It was all white boys. They ain't got no fucking hair. Like,
Yeah.
all crew cuts and shit. Don't give me no goddamn five. You don't even understand. You don't have none. But I get it, team morale and everything like that. I get it. But that's a hard choice for me.
Right. It does depend on where you're coming from. Are you with this wrestling group? Or are you a part of this team because you're looking for?
Was he the
a
best
brotherhood?
player on a wrestling team? You know what I'm saying? Was he the star wrestler? Was that match the highlight match of the season? That if they won that, they was guaranteed to go.
And did you bust?
wherever.
And did you bust your ass trying to make this team? You was
Right.
the last one selected. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's a
There's
lot,
different
man.
things that play into
It's
it.
a lot,
Me,
man.
I probably would have walked away with my dick. I probably wouldn't have let them make me fool like that, honestly, because I'm too much of a left field type guy. I'd be like, man, get the fuck out of there. I'm not doing that just because you said so. But you're going to have to show me a rule book or some documentation.
I'm just happy he won because had he would have lost,
Then it would have been okay for him
Oh.
to shoot up the school.
I think he. Oh shit! Nah. Hey, yo, nah.
Nah, I take school shooting seriously, guys. Don't take that too seriously.
I think he did it the right way though. Sacrifice and then let everybody else fight his battle for him. You know, he's still a kid.
Yeah.
It's not for him. He cut his hair. He won the match, and now you let us, the grown folks, the black and powerful, the voices, you let us handle it. Because guess what happened? The ref is officially gone. He is banned from refereeing in New Jersey, I believe.
Just
So-
don't pull no Rodney King, man. When everybody riding for you and shit, you come out and say some shit like, "Can't we all just get along?" Like,
I mean, well, he's around white people. He might go to a white school. He might be under the impression that he don't see color and he don't know racism. I don't know. He might be that type of guy.
it see you, nigga.
That would burn though. It's like
That shit
everybody
see you.
sticking their neck out for you. And you just be like, hey, listen.
Hey man, can we all just get along, guys? I mean, it was just a haircut, you know. All right, well, fuck it then, man. Coming to your calls, no goddamn more.